time for this week's Willies Ramblings and Pickups. I missed last week. I actually recorded some pickup videos, but didn't have a lot of time to put it together. I didn't really find that much stuff. Nothing really that great, so I just skipped making a video last week. Been really busy getting ready to go out to CGE in Las Vegas. I'm the console director out there, and I've actually got quite a few consoles committed to the show, so there should be a wider range of things for people to play out there. This past weekend I went to an arcade party at my buddy's house, Scott, who's the guy heading up the CGE show. And a couple of the arcade guys were there, and he committed to me to bring some Vectrex units and some Virtual Boys for the console area. So that's going to be really cool to have those in the area for people to play. On other news, been working on the ColecoVisions podcast quite a bit. I'm a little behind in the Fairchild Channel F files. My buddy Indie Soul got his podcast started back up, The Greatest American Hero, which you can find RSS feeds down below in the show notes if you want to go subscribe to that podcast. It's also on iTunes. He's also part of the Throwback Network, along with me, Arcade USA, and ColecoVisions podcast. So you can go to throwbacknetwork.net and see some other neat shows that are part of that network. But anyway, let's get to some of the pickups here. First thing I picked up, I got off Craigslist a couple weeks ago, is I picked up another ColecoVision system. This one's the French-Canadian one. It's got French writing on it. Really good shape. It was like $50 on Craigslist. Came with like 6 or 7 games, all pretty common stuff. It had one game I didn't have in my collection yet. It was Antarctic Adventure for the ColecoVision. Didn't have this in my collection yet, so that's a nice little bonus. Basically, you're a penguin and you're racing across Antarctica. So it's a penguin racing game. Pretty unique. As you race the penguin, you got to jump over these holes in the ice, and every once in a while you see these little round holes that either a fish will jump out of for bonus points, or a seal will pop his head out and you got to avoid him, otherwise it slows you down. Likewise, if you hit a hole, it slows you down. It's actually a pretty fun game to play. It's kind of neat. Don't mind it at all. With that French-Canadian ColecoVision, it came with the later power supply. See, the normal ColecoVision power supply has 2 plugs right here to plug it in. This one's a little bit more reliable. So this is another reason why I picked it up, because I saw a picture of this in the photos. Like, oh, I want that. A bit more reliable power supply for the ColecoVision. Next thing I picked up, all this other stuff I picked up except for one. When I went up to the arcade party, I found a flea market up north of Ashland, Virginia. I think it's off exit 110. It's called the Virginia Bazaar or something like that. Can't remember. Found some games there. I picked up Mechanized Attack for the Nintendo NES. It's a light gun game that you can actually use the D-pad on as well, but I think the game would be a lot easier to play with a light gun. Kind of reminds me of Operation Wolf from the arcade a little bit. It's not too bad of a game. It's okay. Unfortunately, I do have a CRT here, so I can hook up my NES to my CRT monitor and play it with the light gun, because it doesn't work with the LCD screen, that's for sure. Next thing I picked up for my Genesis is Cosmic Spacehead by Codemasters. Didn't know what it was, so I picked it up. It's kind of like a combination of a point-and-click adventure game with some side-scrolling elements to it. It's kind of interesting. Don't know if I'm going to keep it or not, or if I'll donate it to the podcast Genesis Gems for them to play around with. So I'll probably end up going to Genesis Gems. The next thing I picked up was complete in box RoboCop versus Terminator. This is a fun game. I really like this game. You play the role of RoboCop, and it's kind of like playing RoboCop the arcade game. A little bit different. Has a lot of neat weapon power-ups in there. Of course, it has the Terminator in there that you have to fight as well. So it's kind of cool. It's a very unique game, combining both those worlds. Basically, it's a one-player game also. But I'm really enjoying this. I remember playing this on a Super Nintendo somewhere and really liked it. So I was pretty happy to find it for my Genesis because I don't have a Super Nintendo in my collection yet. Mainly I've been collecting Sega stuff. Next thing I picked up for my Sega Genesis is, complete in the box, Fire Shark. This is a really fun game also. If you like the arcade game 1942 or 1943, it's a vertical shoot 'em up game where you're flying a biplane and you shoot enemy tanks on the ground and have other planes that come after you. You got some power-ups that you can get to upgrade your weapons to have better firepower to fight. You have a bomb you can drop to blow things up on the ground. It's a pretty fun game. It responds really well. Don't have bitter problems with it at all. This one I didn't know even existed on the Genesis. I just saw it on the shelf. I was like, what's that? Looked at the back of the box. Oh, it's a vertical shooter. I'll probably like that. So I'm pretty glad I picked it up. It's kind of interesting. It's just got a white plain label on it. Not seen a white plain label Genesis game before. And then the last thing I picked this up off of Amazon, mainly because I found out that Rez, that I like on my Dreamcast, can make use of a Dreamcast mouse. And I think there's some other Dreamcast games this will work with. I want to try it with Silent Scope next and see if it works with that, because I like that game too. But I do know it works with Rez, and that's one reason why I wanted a mouse. So that's awesome. And then my pal Scott loaned me a game for the Atari 2600 of his called Desert Bus. Desert Bus. Drive from Tucson, Arizona to Las Vegas in real time. Basically, it takes you 8 hours to drive from Tucson to Las Vegas in this game. And then you got to turn around and come back. So it's 16 hours of gameplay. And you just can't leave the bus running down the road because it slowly drifts to the side or back to the other side. And if it hits the side of the road, it stops. So you got to constantly maintain its speed. If you let off the joystick for the acceleration, the bus will coast to a stop and just sit there. So you actually got to hold the joystick forward and bump it right and left to keep the bus on the road for 8 hours. Oh boy. This should be interesting. I'll try and make a video of this. I may even actually do this for the Extra Life charity that I'm going to be part of as part of the Retro Junkies Network, where we're going to do 24 hours of gameplay. All the different podcasts on the network will be playing different games from their respective podcasts and stuff in order to donate to this charity called Extra Life. I'll put a link down below to the Retro Junkies Extra Life charity event. It's supposed to happen in October 25th, I believe. So this should be interesting to try to play this. I have a very short attention span, so this should be entertaining. Anyway, that's all the pickups for this week. I'm double checking. Don't have anything laying around. Okay, that is all the pickups. So, thanks for watching.